This is topic E on page 90, arranging and sizing objects. Once you have selected and inserted the graphic objects that you want for your presentation, you probably need to change their size or placement on the screen to maximize their impact. The ability to modify and arrange on-screen objects can help you avoid clutter and create slides with a sense of balance and continuity. So here on slide 1, I have one graphic selected, two kids with their painting projects. Now when you have an image selected, you get your resizing handles on all four corners, and also top and bottom and left and right. Now, those of you that have been in class with me before, I always make the suggestion when you're resizing to keep that aspect ratio in place, you always want to use your corner resizing handles. So that way the image doesn't get squashed. You can see as I resize it using the bottom one, moving it up, gets squashed in, or making it larger, that the proportion of the picture will get all messed up. So if you use your corner, it will keep the height and width aspect ratio in place. So those are your resizing handles. To move an object, just hover over it. You get your 4-directional cursor and you can click and drag to place it exactly where you want on your slide. When it's selected, you also get your rotation handle along the top. Click and drag and you can rotate your image however far you want, left or right, or all the way around. We also have the option to crop our pictures. So let's say in this image I only wanted to include the girl in her painting. With the image selected, I get my Picture Tools Format Contextual tab. And in my Size command group, here I have the option to crop. You have the button or you have a crop drop-down option. The button is the same as choosing this top option. So when I select that, on my image, you can see I get these dark bars in all four corners and then on the two sides and top and bottom. These are called your crop handles. Make sure when you're trying to crop your image, you're hovering over the crop handle and not your sizing handle. You can see the difference in the cursors when I hover over. Your sizing handles, you'll get your 2-directional arrows. Your crop handle, you'll actually get a replica of that crop handle as your cursor. So if I wanted to crop out the little boy and his art supplies, I could bring this crop handle to the left. Maybe I want to bring the bottom one up just a little bit to get rid of the extra dark space. And then all I want to do, I can click outside of the picture, or I can hit that crop button again. And you can see the unwanted space of the picture has now been removed. That cropped out space has not been deleted. It's still there. If you ever want to bring it back up again, you can just go back to your crop tool. You can see it's still there. I could bring my handle back out again to include him. Click outside. And you can see that's still available for me. So again, it's not been deleted, it's just kind of hidden from sight. Now from that crop drop down, you also have the option to crop to a shape. So if I wanted to crop to a circle, you can see just puts that shape and what can fit inside of it of that image. So you have your whole shape gallery that you can choose from for cropping your images. Okay. The Format Picture pane. The Format Picture pane provides you with a variety of commands you can use to format the images that you add to a presentation. To access this from my Picture Tools Format Contextual tab, I can hit my Size dialog box launcher, and this opens my Format Picture task pane to the right. Up at the top, you have 4 icons. You have your fill and line. So this has sections for adding a fill color. You can see I added a fill color of black here. If I wanted no fill, you can see it makes this clip art image was actually a transparent background. So now my slide color actually comes through for that. And you have the option of gradient fill, picture or texture, and pattern fill. And the slide background fill. That would be the same as the transparent here. And then you can also add a border to your picture for your line. Going around where your selection handles are, you can add a border there. You can also add some picture effects. We've seen these for our text boxes and our text as well. All the same effects are available here. Then you have your size and properties icon for indicating how high, wide. You can add specific degrees for your rotation. You can scale the image, larger or smaller. When scaling, you may want to click off the lock aspect ratio. So when I scale the height, that will also scale the width as well. So again, it stays in proportion for you. If I was to uncheck that and scale down my height, you can see it's gonna become squished again. So it gets rid of that proportionality there. And also we have a position section for indicating an exact position on your slide for horizontal and vertical. And we'll get into the text box and alternative text a little later on in our lessons. And then for any picture corrections, for your sharpness, brightness and contrast, we have picture color, your saturation and temperature, and you also have exact positionings for your crop tool as well. Okay, so those are all available on your Format Picture task pane. And again, you can indicate that you can open that up by using your Size dialog box launcher. Okay, let's take a look at our Remove Background tool. Here on slide 3, you can see I inserted a clip art image of my moon and my stars. But you can see my slide background does not come through on this particular image. This graphic has a black background. Now if I didn't want that background, I wanted to remove it. On my Picture Tools Format Contextual tab in my Adjust command group, here I have my Remove Background. And when I click on that, it's going to give me an extra background removal ribbon tab up at the top here. And you can see it selected my picture and it gave me a selection box here. You can see anything that's not in the selection box outside of it is automatically purple. The parts that you want to keep in your picture, you want to make sure they come in through as color. So I would want to click and drag to include that section of the moon in my picture. I'm going to make this large enough to include all of my stars. And you can see my stars are still shown in purple. They're not coming through. Anything in purple is going to be removed because PowerPoint thinks it's part of the background. So up on this background removal tab, here I have a button, Mark Areas to Keep. And when I click on that, my cursor changes into a little pencil. And I can just draw a little line through this star indicating that I want to keep that part of the picture. I want that color to come through. I don't want it to be removed with my background. Vice versa, if there's any colorings that is coming through that you don't want to keep, you can mark areas to remove, or you can delete a mark if you need to. So I'm going to continue to mark areas to keep by drawing lines through my stars here. You can see everything comes through pretty well. And then once I see everything good that I want to keep, up on that ribbon tab I have the option to keep changes, and it goes back to my regular slide, and you can see that black background has been removed. Now my background is just transparent with the slide color coming through. Now be very careful with this Remove Background tool. With pictures that are very busy with a lot of colors, it does not work very well. For instance, here I have an image of some flowers. Now you can see there's a lot going on in this picture. It's not as simple as just, two standard colors, yellow and black, like I had for my moon. If I tried to remove the background for this, you can see only spots of my flowers are actually coming through here. When I do mark areas to keep, try to keep one of the flowers, it doesn't work out very well. So just be very aware of what pictures you're using for your remove background. You want to keep it rather simple for those types of pictures. All right. Okay, let's bring this back to normal. And we'll switch over to slide 4 and we'll take a look at some rotation options. Now I showed you the rotation at the top here, and that's just for eyeballing about how much you want to rotate it. But you can specify flipping it vertically, horizontally as well. You can specify how many degrees you want your picture rotated by, and these options are available on your Picture Tools Format Contextual tab. In your Arrange group, here I have a rotate drop down. I can rotate the picture to the right 90 degrees, rotate it to the left 90 degrees. Well, that's the beginning. Let me rotate it again. I can flip it vertically, so now it's upside down. I can also flip it horizontally. And then from that drop down, we have more rotation options, and this will open your Format Picture task pane, and it brings you to your size section, where again you can indicate how many degrees you want the picture rotated. So you can see as I hit my up arrow, it's going to rotate it clockwise by however many degrees I indicate. If I bring it down past 0, -1, it's going to rotate counterclockwise. Okay, so if the test question tells you a specific degree to rotate your image, you want to go to your Format Picture task pane. Your next video will be activity 4.5 on page 94.